Today we're gonna do some extreme macro photography again using this 2x teleconverter. My name is Micael Widell and I've been teaching macro photography on YouTube for 7 years. If you would like to learn more about macro photography, please consider subscribing to my channel. So, I got to loan both the MC-14 and the MC-20 from OM System. And today we're gonna try the 2x teleconverter, which is a bit thicker. You put it between the camera and your lens, and what it will do is it will double the focal length of the lens, which on a macro lens means that you will get double the magnification. So this lens, the M.Zuiko 90mm, will go from 2x magnification all the way up to 4x magnification, which in full frame equivalent is crazy. 8x magnification. I've never done this high magnification macro photography handheld before, so it's gonna be interesting to try today. A nice thing with using a teleconverter to increase the magnification of your macro lens is that you maintain the ability to focus to infinity. With a Raynox filter you lose that ability, but with this teleconverter you can still focus anywhere from infinity to 4x magnification. And my first impression is that the images look very nice, and as you can see, very sharp as well. So definitely great image quality. You are however limited to a maximum aperture of f10, at least on this particular lens, the M.Zuiko 90mm. Which is due to the fact that this teleconverter has a lens element inside it. So at f10 you get maybe a slight bit of diffraction at these magnifications, but I think it's still pretty doable, at least if you have a flash. When you use a teleconverter, the minimum focusing distance does not change, which means that on a macro lens like the M.Zuiko 90mm, you maintain a very long working distance even at extreme magnifications. And this is both good and bad, I would say. It's good if you're looking to photograph insects like butterflies or dragonflies and other skittish insects that you want a long working distance to, then it's great. But for me, who loves to do a lot of high magnification focus stacking of live insects, it is actually a problem to have too long working distance, as I experienced today. The problem is that I want to hold the lens with the hand that I'm holding the subject with, and then if the hand has to be far away from the lens due to a long working distance, it becomes extremely hard to do high magnification focus stacks. So I actually personally prefer a very short working distance when photographing insects, just so I'm able to do the stacks in a good way. I was able to get this pretty nice stack of a Widell. I think this is my favorite photo from today. One thing that impressed me today was the image stabilization. Yes, the image stabilization is already very good on the OM system in macro photography, but I was really impressed to see that it was so good at this crazy magnification, at 4x magnification. Still, it was pretty smooth to find the subject in the viewfinder and to focus. I guess this is because the teleconverter communicates with the lens and the camera, and the lens and the camera knows the new focal length, which is 180mm, which is a full frame equivalent of 360mm, and then it can adjust the stabilization accordingly. So yeah, very impressive, and I think this experience with the image stabilization was of course better than with the Raynox, even though that the magnification was similar. Another difference between the Raynox DCR250 that I used in my previous video to get high magnification and this teleconverter is of course the price. The Raynox DCR250 is just a simple magnifying lens that you put in front of your macro lens, and it's very cheap, it's like $70. This teleconverter, the MC-20, is more expensive. It comes in at around $450 at least here in Sweden where I live. So it is of course considerably more expensive, but you can also use it for more things. You can for example use it together with your telephoto lens to do wildlife photography. You could not really do that with the Raynox. After an extremely long and cold winter here in Sweden, we have finally started seeing spring. Or actually, what has happened is basically that the winter turned into summer overnight without any spring in between. That is how it feels. So all of a sudden I can walk around in t-shirt. Just a couple of weeks ago I had my winter jacket. So now I just feel slightly stressed to make the best out of this summer when all the insects are here. Over the years I've started noticing some patterns. You have a few different waves of insects. First come the forest ants and the small spiders in the first wave. And now we're in the second wave where we start seeing ladybugs and weevils and small beetles. And then the third wave, which will be in 1 or 2 weeks I think, is when everything just explodes. Right before midsummer you start seeing pretty much every insect species that exists in Sweden. And then after midsummer usually it slowly but steadily dies down. You start seeing fewer and fewer insect species. So yeah, the summer is very short in Sweden, and how ironic that I live here and that I chose to be an insect photographer full time. But it's like life in general, right? You are first dead for an eternity, then you have your very short but sweet life, and then you are dead for an eternity again. And that is how it feels with Swedish winter and summer. An eternity of winter, a short summer, and an eternity of winter again. But that is also the reason why I love macro photography so much, and why I love my life so much. Because it's scarce. It's only here for a brief moment before we wane into an eternity of being dead again. That is what gives it value. So, everyone, enjoy macro photography while you can. Soon autumn is here again. See you soon again in my next video.